regular comedy on station, Madison's funniest comic. Give it up for Sasha, everybody. Sasha!
Oh, hey, Milwaukee, keep it going for everybody you've seen so far. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Sasha. I earlier this year had a baby. Thank you. We're vaccinating him because we're raising him autistic. Yeah, I want to make sure my son counts sheep for fun. That's two special interests right there, zoology and accounting. Incredible, incredible. Yeah, I got a touch of the tism myself, in case nobody clocked that. You might not have clocked it because I'm wearing this illustrious jacket. I just thought that you guys like it? Is this fun? Yeah. The moment I put this on, I felt like a polycule somewhere nearby could sense my presence. They were like, a new potential has awoken. We must invite her to the conversation pit. Anyways, so yeah, that's what my after party is going to be after this show. But yeah, I had a baby earlier this year, and I'm enjoying being a new parent, but I don't always like being around other new parents, because there's this thing a lot of new parents do where I feel like they read into their children's behavior too much. So I'll give you an example. I have a friend, she's got a new baby, and the baby's playing with Legos, and my friend goes, "Ooh, he's gonna be an architect!" And I'm like, "Settle down, bitch." Okay, he's 6 months old, you know? He's eating the Legos. That is not what Frank Lloyd is famous for. But I'm using this logic, right? If ever a baby grabs my tit without warning, I'll be like, "Ooh, he's gonna be a movie producer!" If he's really ambitious, he can run for president. Too soon, too soon. I'm here from Madison, you know, I'm going to do some political stuff, of course, we're very political. If you don't like the political stuff, I'll just say, my son uses a lot of baby oil, maybe he'll be a rapper. Like the topical stuff, yeah. Now, Madison is very political, very much like the Portland of the Midwest, and a lot of times, like when I meet a new person, the first thing out of their mouth is like, "What are your pronouns? What's your gender?" I think there's this misconception that only liberals care about pronouns. I think conservatives also care, it's just in a different way, I'll explain. Like liberals, you know, they'll put their pronouns in their social media bio, you know, like their email signature. But conservatives, they'll put their pronouns on the hand towels in the master bathroom. You gotta really love pronouns to embroider his and hers on towels, okay? Especially because we know which one his is, it's the crunchy one. Hey, you guys are kind of gross, I like that. Okay. I was wondering, after that fucking the side hole bit, what are we gonna talk about? What are we gonna, cum towels? Fine, let's do it. I blew into my son's asshole before coming here tonight. It's been weird being a parent. I say the person who's most excited about me having a baby is my mom. Of course, she really wanted to be a grandma, and for the longest time, she's like, "You want to have kids? Do you want to have kids? Are you gonna have kids? Are you gonna have kids?" And I was like, I don't know if I have any room in my freezer. But obviously I was open to having kids, you know, I felt like I'd be a pretty chill parent. Not a freezer joke, by the way. I feel like that's more than that joke deserves, but thanks. No, I feel like I'd be a pretty chill parent, you know, to like my future, my older son. But I feel like I will have a problem if he turns out to be cool, okay? I'm gonna have a problem if my son turns out to be cool, because me in high school, like very much a metalhead, wore a lot of black, like Liberty spikes out to here. If my son turns out to be like a popular jock, and I like catch him trying to sneak out of the house at night wearing a Letterman jacket, I'll be like, "Oh no you don't, mister, this is a goth family." You are going nowhere without at least putting on a little eyeliner first. Oh, you thought you were gonna go drink brewskis with the boys at a house party? No, you were going to a graveyard to drink wine alone. Think about existentialism. House party. I used to blow into your asshole when you were little. Yeah. He has a terrible diaper rash right now. It's the only thing that makes him happy, honestly. I'm like, "Ooh," and he's like, anyway. So yeah, no jokes, just want you to know what being a parent is like. Yeah. How's being a new mom? I blow into my son's asshole. Anyways, not the first time I've had somebody just shoving their asshole in my face. I got 3 cats at home. Okay, so That's just a Tuesday. That's just a Tuesday. You can tell by my haircut that I'm a cat person, right? Yeah. You know, you are what you eat. Now, some of you are wondering, does she mean she eats cats, cat people, or just pussy? I see this too. It's very, very gay. But I have a surprise for you all. I made my son with my husband. I'm straight. Yeah. It's a standing ovation in Green Bay, but okay. Fine, Milwaukee, be all woke. I'm in a straight relationship. It's straight, okay? I wear cargo shorts and my husband vacuums, so that's kind of weird. Okay, you guys don't agree. See, next, does that make it better? One of us likes Dragon Ball Z and it's not him. Anyways, yeah. I will explain, in case you're wondering what this like very gay energy is what's responsible for it. There's actually a medical reason. I have a condition called polycystic ovarian syndrome. Do we know about this? Have you heard about this? Okay, a few people have. A few people shaking their heads. Welcome to my TED Talk. Polycystic ovarian syndrome is just a thing that makes me make an inordinate amount of testosterone. So that's why I sound like a 14-year-old boy who smokes a lot of cigarettes. That's also why I like Dragon Ball Z. People are like, you have really weird taste in TV for a woman in her 30s. I'm like, it's a medical condition. I got a doctor's note for this shit. Yeah. It's in my electronic health record. DBZ, yeah. Not the Majin Buu saga though. Anyway, there's another fun, we've got some people who agree. I don't watch after the Gohan with Super Saiyan shit. Don't talk to me after the show. Anyway, there's another fun power I have due to all the testosterone, which is that I can grow a full beard. Hold your applause. Yeah, I'm not talking like, let a few hairs on my chin. I'm talking like ZZ Top, okay? Charles Darwin, name your beard guy, I can grow that beard. And I realized that I missed an opportunity last year because circa election season, I was about 7 months pregnant, you know, like pretty obviously pregnant. And I realized I could have spent the preceding couple of months growing out my full, illustrious beard, and I could have rolled up to the polls, you know, like looking like pregnant Gimli. And I feel like conservatives would have been looking at me like, should abortion be legal? Maybe it should be mandatory. That was fun. Yeah, I actually kind of liked being a pregnant comedian. I would milk it a lot on stage. I wouldn't address the, you know, the elephant in the womb or whatever. And I'd be like, I had a big lunch, I ate a baby. It was fun. I liked being pregnant because I realized something about myself. Everyone was like, oh, you must be having like a lot of hormones, you must be really emotional. And I was like, I don't have a period and I'm not drinking. This is the most emotionally stable I've ever been in my life. I want to be pregnant all the time. I'm so normal right now. I did smoke a little bit of weed, I will confess. Smoked a little bit of weed while I was pregnant because I went to Colorado and I was like, when in Rome, you know? And I did do some research though, and apparently if you smoke a lot of weed while you're pregnant, it can potentially reduce the baby's birth weight. Just in case anybody here is interested in having a cool, sexy baby. Some people say underweight, I say runway! You guys are cool. People in Madison do not laugh at that joke. That's why I like Milwaukee. You guys are fun. So yeah, I am a straight, more or less. I'm gay enough to have tried pussy many times. I knew God had a plan. Just not gay enough to like it, unfortunately. Anybody wants me to motorboat them, I'll get very excited. I do like boobs. I did mention that I have like this beard thing I can do, and I'm normally wearing a normal bra, and then my tits are leaking, and they hurt, so I strap them down. And but I would like to grow up one day to be a big titty Gandalf. That's what I want to be. I know this is a lot of Lord of the Rings and Dragon Ball Z references, but I feel like my people are here, so I'm just leaning into it. Yeah, I'm going to be selling merch after the show, and it's original artwork of Big Titty Gandalf. Come and say hi. I would love to give you one. So I will continue with my set and talking about how gay I am, except that I'm not. I am actually on my second husband, you guys. Yeah, I got a 4-husband plan. The outfits keep getting better with each successive husband. The first husband got like SpongeBob SquarePants pajama bottoms, no belt. Second husband, well, you know, when you put a belt on pajamas, woo! club. Yeah, I'm wearing this now. This is second husband level. This is actually an upgrade from the flannel I wore every single day for 2.5 years straight. So this is very exciting. I did this for Sean Patton. I was like, yeah, an exciting person to open for. I'm going to put on a new outfit. But I think by the fourth husband, I'll look like Cruella de Vil, have like 4 pheasants on my head, dead puppies, and then cigarette out to here. That's the vibe. That's the vibe. Yeah, I will tell you why I divorced my first husband. It wasn't because of my outfits, actually. We got into a little kerfuffle one time. We'll just call it that. Got into a kerfuffle, and the neighbors overheard the ruckus, and then they texted us being like, hey, we've called the police, and the police are on their way. And my ex-husband, being the classy guy that he was, bolted. So then I had to deal with the cops. But I'm no snitch. So when the police showed up at my door and they were like, hey, what's the problem with your husband? I said, beats me. Thanks for laughing at that one. Hope you got a kick out of it. I sure did. Yeah, no, so we got divorced for obvious reasons. And then I went out into the field to find new blood, and I decided to try out women. What an interesting choice that was on my part, because here's how it went for me. First of all, I decided to get super jacked. So I got to a point where I was like benching 150 pounds. I decided, ironically, to buy a wife beater. Hello, show off the delts, you know. I am one now. Yeah, and then I went to the gay bar, not to be confused with the straight bar, which is ordinarily just called a bar. And I went to the gay bar. Turns out that if you're wearing a wife beater or 5'9" and you don't talk, women just come to you. They're like, who is she? What's her story? She's so mysterious. She's wearing cargo shorts at the bar. But yeah, no, I ended up talking with this one girl, and she was really hot. So we ended up going back to her place, and we were making out. I've never been with a woman before, but I decided I was going to start, making my way downtown. I'm moving fast, nipples passing, I'm crotch bound. That's how the song goes, right? I actually didn't quite get to the at that particular point, because this girl at this juncture knows something that I don't know. What she knew was that she was on her period. Oh, yeah, gross. But I don't know this. She kind of pauses me before I get to the Bolshevik Revolution, let's just call it that. Before I get to the Iron Curtain, whatever. No, so, because it's blood. Anyway, you guys are very nerdy. This is fun. No, before I got to the danger zone, she kind of stops me. She goes, okay, so, and I thought maybe it was also her first time with a woman. Maybe she was feeling self-conscious, so I decided to reassure her. And I was like, hey, you're hot. I'm having a good time. If you're having a good time, I'm down to go for it. And she said, okay, go for it. So I went for it. And boy, did I have egg on my face. That's what we in the Jewish community refer to as pulling a Moses. Okay, well that's as close as I'm gonna get to fucking the side hole, but yeah, blowing into my son's ass and eating period pussy, that's the closest you're gonna get. I will do some more dirty jokes though, I think that's fun. I will say, after that experience, I was like, maybe I'll stick with dudes, I know this is not a great sample. And going back to dudes, one time I was bold. I decided to ask a guy to talk dirty to me. And he said, take every inch of my cock. And I was like, oh shit. He's not using the metric system. We both worked in science. That's as nasty as it gets. I did originally actually move to Madison because I wanted to be a scientist. And I went there for grad school, and I dropped the fuck out because I liked alcohol more. And there were other reasons. Grad school sucks. Grad school sucks. And here's the thing. I feel like trying to get a graduate degree is a lot like trying to have sex on antidepressants. It's like, antidepressants, they make it hard to orgasm. And so it's like, a lot of times when you're trying to get a graduate degree, people will say to you, so, when are you going to finish? And it's like, I don't know, man. I'm just trying not to kill myself. I sense some people relating to this one in the crowd. So before I get out of here, I do want to ask you guys a question. By way of sad woo noises, who here has heard their parents have sex? I heard it. Me too. I've also heard your parents have sex. Now, growing up, I heard my parents fuck, which means I knew what it sounded like when my dad came. Not information I wanted in my mind, but that's not even the worst part, you guys. The worst part is it's the same sound he made in a whole bunch of other situations. It's like using the bathroom, getting up out of a chair. eating spicy food. Realized that my dad was a grunter. That or he was just coming all the time. Horny man. But I appreciate that him and my mom, they gave me a model for like a healthy, loving relationship. And I actually feel like I have that with my second husband. I think he's the final husband. He's ruined the 4-husband plan. But when I first started dating my husband, I wasn't used to his whole vibe, because, I'm a masculine woman. I attract a lot of screaming, hairless dolphin twinks, okay? So a lot of me like, hey, brother, and I'm like, so that's fine. But my husband's not of that ilk. He's like the strong, silent type. Looks like a Game of Thrones character, okay? He's like 6'3", long red hair, jaw out to here. Looks like he could fuck a truck. I'm the truck, beep beep. It's just the autism speaking. Autism speaks and it says, honk, honk. When I was first hooking up with my husband, he was like, this like passionate lover, but not very noisy. He didn't make a peep, silent as a mouse. And early on, we're dating, and I'm on top as usual. And after a certain amount of time had elapsed, he's not making any noise. We're having this great time, and he started getting soft. And I was like, hey, is everything cool? Like, did I do something wrong? And he said, oh, I came, like a while ago. And I was like, wow, you're nothing like my dad. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of the show. Come say hi afterwards. Good night.
One more time for Sasha, you guys. Come on.